Chapter 1:24. Tanzian was mentally surprised that the guy knew what kind of noodles she liked. She assumes that he was following her. The hero, noticing the unusual state of the girl, decides to clarify whether everything is all right with her because her face is red. When they get a positive response, they fall silent. At the same time, two girls enter the restaurant. Shu King immediately takes notice of them. The kitchen is requested to pick up the order. The brunette gets up from her seat to pick up 2 servings of noodles. At the same moment, one of the fairer sex nods to her friend, giving something the go-ahead. The 2 friends get up, pulling out their knives. One of the girls takes a knife in both hands and raises it over Tanzian's head. At that moment, noodles fly into her face. The girl screams in pain, which attracts the victim's attention. The noodles were just cooked, so they burned the assailant badly. The second girl does not try to help her friend, but attacks Tanzian, who is in a state of shock. A few drops of blood fall to the floor. The purple-haired girl freezes in shock when she sees that Shu King has covered her from the impact. The knife went into his stomach. Tanzian shouts the hero's name, not knowing what else to do. I can see the panic in her eyes. A powerful aura appears around the guy. She throws her attacker aside. A bright flash of yellow light sends the would-be assassin crashing to the floor. Her friend had already recovered. She grits her teeth nervously, unsure of what to do next. Tanzian asks the brunette to run away because they came for her. The hero also notices that he cannot leave his girlfriend. After that, he corrects his words that he will not leave her in this life. He takes off at the second attacker, who has already taken a fighting stance. The girl throws a roundhouse kick. Shu King avoids it by ducking just in time. After that, he immediately strikes back because the opponent has opened up. The guy's punch finds its target, sending the girl flying to the nearest wall, breaking chairs and tables in the process. The first attacker wakes up. She attacks the hero from behind. In the jump, the girl strikes him with her palm on the back. The brunette didn't budge from him. The attack passed, but he didn't even show a hint of pain. Shu King turned his head in the direction of the first opponent with a predatory grin. The girl goes after her friend. They lose consciousness, no longer having the strength to resist. It is worth noting that they were badly hurt. Tanzian decides to clarify whether the guy is a member of the family of practitioners. Shu King gives a negative answer, claiming that it is difficult to explain, but he is an ordinary person. The girl doesn't know what to say to that. She just doesn't have the words. The guy takes her hand, noting that they can talk later, but now they need to leave because it's not safe here. He then asks the interviewee to contact her family to take care of the 2. As the couple walks away from the restaurant, the dark-haired man leans on the girl, clutching his wound. It becomes difficult for him to move around on his own. Shu King holds the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. Tanzian nervously asks if he's okay. She immediately offers to take him to the hospital. The guy says that everything is fine, and this is just a small scratch, which will soon heal itself. In his mind's eye, the hero makes a note that even though those 2 weren't that strong, they were still able to injure him as if they were using a magic weapon. He makes a mental note to be more careful next time. The representative of the fair sex notices that the brunette, it seems, already knows a lot about her family. The guy also says that he wanted to know about her family after he met someone, so the interlocutor should not think anything superfluous. Tanzian decides to find out who Shu King met. He calls the name of the person who started it all. This is Lai Yue. The girl, hearing the name of this person, understands that the interlocutor was attacked. She notices that he is in danger. The brunette also emphasizes that she should not worry, because someone like him is not a match for the hero. Tanzian is a little shy about it. The guy's self-confidence endears her, so she decides to ask why he saved her. The brunette scratches the back of his head, not even sure what to say. In his mind's eye, he knows that the reason is because she was his lover in a previous life, but he can't say that. Shu King says that he felt like they had known each other for years, so he would sacrifice everything for her, even his life. This makes the other person blush. She tries to cover her face with her hands to hide her embarrassment. Shu King also says that the girl may think that he is doing this for personal gain, but as long as she believes him, he will help in any way he can. After that, the dark-haired man notices that he knows that Tanzian's family is going through a difficult time. A representative of the fair sex decides to trust the guy. She says that her family is known for producing medicines. Dozens of pharmaceutical companies report to them, but a month ago, their family's prescription was stolen, and at the same time, several other families began to put pressure on the Tan family. Tanzian notes that they investigated and found out that the Lai family is behind all this, who wants to marry her to Lai Yue, thereby absorbing the Tan family. Shu King ponders the situation to himself. He doesn't like the fact that the Lai family is once again involved in a strange scheme. They want to destroy the Lai family and devour the Tan family. The brunette understands that they are taking on too much responsibility. The hero grabs the girl by the shoulders, asking her to trust him because he can help his family. Tanzian doesn't believe the guy's words. so she asks him again if he can really help. Chu King talks about how he wants to solve their problem. In his opinion, this is very easy, because you just need to get a new recipe. Tan Zian notes that this is easier said than done, since the Tan family has more than a dozen research sites in this city, but in 20 years of research, they will find less than a dozen new recipes. The brunette claims that he has a couple of recipes, but we can talk about this later. He informs her that there will be an auction in a couple of days, after which he will meet with her family and they can discuss everything. Tan Zian accepts the offer. Chu King bends abruptly. His heart skips a powerful beat. The girl runs up to him, worried about his health and asking what's wrong with him. The hero clutches at his heart, remembering that this time he marked Yi Chengxi with Reiki, but now something suddenly erased the mark. Reiki is a type of alternative medicine that uses the technique of so-called healing by touching the palms of your hands. Chapter 1:25. The hero apologizes for having to go. Before he leaves, he tells his companion that if he is not at school, she should inform Lin Dong that Chu King should be asked to leave the teacher. The girl asks the guy to wait, but he does not have time. He dials a familiar informant, starting a conversation. The guy tells Huahua that Yi Chengxi is in big trouble, so he asks her to track her phone. A representative of the fair sex declares that she will now do everything and send it to his phone. After that, Chu King dials Jia Yu's number. The guy immediately asks the hero if he has found something valuable. The brunette gives a negative answer, noting that he wanted to ask for a favor. He needs a car. The interlocutor immediately clarifies that Chu King, claiming that he will pick him up. When he gets the address, he hangs up. Jia Yu informs all visitors that the auction house is closing for today. The guy gets into the car and rushes at full speed to his friend. While Chu King is riding in the car with a friend, he receives a message from Huahua. In it, the girl says that Yi Chengxi's location has changed again. The hero is given a new address, which he shows to Jia Yu. The son of the owner of the auction house, looking at the point on the map, understood how to get to this place. He asked his friend to prepare for a quick trip, and then stepped on the gas, braking off at maximum speed to the destination. When they come in to overtake the van, Wu Chu Kin gets a strange feeling. He activates his ability, literally sensing that Yi Chengxi is in this particular van. The hero asks a friend to stop the van in front. Jia Yu doesn't say anything. He steps on the gas and starts to pass the van. Overtaking the van, the son of the auction house owner abruptly blocks the car's path, standing across the road. The van, in order to avoid an accident, moves off the road, hitting a tree. Chu King gets out of the car, watching a huge column of black smoke through which the silhouette of a van can be discerned. Two guys get out of the van. They have guns in their hands. They are trying to recover. Chu King confidently walks towards them. His sword appears in his hands, and the energy rages around him. The kidnappers, noticing the hero, point pistols in his direction. One of them gives the command to fire. They pull the trigger at the same time. However, the bullets do not have time to find their target. Chu King disappears in a yellow flash, starting to move at an incredible speed. In one spurt, he deals with two opponents. The kidnappers fall to the ground, losing consciousness. The brunette walks confidently towards the van. His sword disappears, becoming a talisman around his neck. As soon as he touches the van's handles, he gets a bad feeling. For a few moments, the entire sky turns as dark as night, and all the energy of the sun hits the van in one powerful beam. Chu King manages to jump back, avoiding a direct hit. The sword reappears in his hands. Two men come out of the fire towards him. The hero realizes that a simple person cannot do this. He begins to suspect that someone in this world is practicing immortal martial arts just like him. Chapter 1:26. One of the men starts a dialogue. He notices that Chu King is still young and inexperienced, but already has good skills, so the unknown person suggests that the guy join their Quanjin sect. The hero declares that he has never heard of such a thing, but even so, he will not join a sect that has spawned scum like the two of them. The second unknown person cedes at such words. The insult to him hits him hard. He demands that his brother stop talking, because this kid insulted them and their teacher, so he must die. Chu King compares himself and the two men to a mountain and small fry, noting that they need to learn a couple more years to go against him. These words infuriate the two brothers. A less patient brother can't take it anymore. A powerful aura appears around him, after which a spear is formed in his hand. He snaps at the hero, saying that he has no right to insult him and his brother, so the boy is now paying for his long tongue. Chu King takes a defensive stance, preparing for the opponent's attack. Their weapons touch. The man tries to push through Chu King, but the latter easily overpowers him, knocking him back. At this point, a crack begins to spread across the opponent's staff. He can't believe his eyes, starting to curse at the guy for daring to damage his weapon. The dark-haired man takes off, throwing a punch in the air. The man covers himself with his staff, so as not to be cut in two. Chu King mockingly asks what will happen if he breaks it. As the two weapons touch, the crack on the staff starts to widen. A moment later, 2 pieces of what was once a single staff fall to the asphalt. It pisses a man off. He clenches his fist, imbuing it with the power of solar energy, and then with a growl hits the guy with it, wanting to send this kid to hell. A few drops of blood fall on the asphalt, and the 2 brothers are heavily pressured by Chu King's aura. A second later, the hot-tempered brother's hand falls to the asphalt. Both understand that their opponent is not as simple as it seems. The victim begins to panic from the loss of a limb. The second brother decides to intervene in the battle, blaming the hero for wounding his brother. A black and white yin-yang circle appears behind the man. From the sky, several bolts of purple lightning fall on the enemy, causing a powerful explosion. When the dust settles on the ground, the attacker is presented with a terrifying picture. Chu King is holding it, my bleeding brother by the neck. He asks to save him. It becomes clear that the hero covered himself with the body of the defeated enemy from the attack of the second enemy. The guy throws aside the carcass of a crippled man, noting that if you want to set foot on the path of cultivation, you must do good, and kidnapping a girl is not. The remaining enemy concentrates all their forces for a decisive attack, declaring that the boy will not live. The man soars into the sky, intending to use lightning again, but at the last moment he notices that the brunette is no longer on the ground. Chu King was behind him, and with a quick movement, he plunged his sword into his opponent's chest. The man turns his head in the direction of the guy, not believing that this is possible. He starts falling down, saying that their teacher will avenge them. Chapter 1-27. Chu King sends them to the van, which was not damaged in the heat of battle. Inside, he finds Yi Chengxi sleeping, then starts to wake her up by gently tapping her cheek with his palm. The girl comes to her senses abruptly. She has a very serious look in her eyes. She grabs the guy by the shoulders, asking him what he's doing here and where the other 2 are. She notes that they are too strong because she could not cope with them, so the guy should run. At this, the hero grabs the interlocutor behind her back, pulling her to him. Chu King hugs a member of the fair sex, saying that everything is fine now and she has nothing to worry about anymore. At this moment, the battlefield next to the wagon opens up to Yi Chengxi. The fire had already gone out, but there was still smoke from it. She sees the carcasses of 2 defeated enemies and calms down, hugging the guy in return. When the hero pulls away, he decides to clarify whether the girl has any guesses about who is behind this. Yi Chengxi speculates that the Lai family might have done it. She reveals that her family has recently officially started a war with the Lai family, but with each skirmish, they bring in several masters, forcing the Yi family to retreat. The brunette also understands why the Li family has been moving so fast lately. The guy has an idea that they are working with Taoists from the mountain. Yi Chengmi shares her thoughts. She is well aware that these men are difficult to call ordinary. They are very strong, just like the 2 who attacked her, and definitely not from a family that practiced ancient martial arts, as they didn't even have a breathing technique. A representative of the fair sex admits that now she will not look down on men. Chu King says he understands her perfectly. He also notices that the girl's family was not in the best position. Yi Chengxi confirms the source's words, saying that in addition to the Lai family, outsiders and small families also create problems for them. The hero suggests that it might have something to do with the Shizhen auction. If this is the case, it all fits together, as it is an obvious reason why families have become more active. The girl thinks about the guy's words, then notices that this is quite logical, because if the Lai family found out something and attacked them, they did not allow the information to leak further, so that they did not have time to prepare. Yi Chengxi hugs the guy, declaring that he is the best, and kisses him on the cheek. After that, she pulls away, asking Chu King to come with her, because she needs to go home and tell everyone what happened, and Mom is constantly looking for an opportunity to thank him. The hero puts his hand on the head of the interlocutor, deciding to gently stroke. This is more confusing for the fair sex. Chu King accepts the girl's invitation, deciding to go with her. Night falls when they manage to reach the Yi family's home. Yi Chengxi enters one of the rooms with the guy. In it, 3 girls are sitting at a table. One of them is the girl's mother. She politely and with a smile asks the young people to come and sit down. In addition to her, there is a second aunt of the girl and another woman in the room. It is the last woman who demands to stop. This surprises the Yi family head a little, so she rushes to clarify what's wrong. Unknown explains that strangers are not allowed to attend meetings of their family. The woman points a finger at Chu King, noticing him. The fact that he is also a man. This angers the brunette a little, but he decides not to get into the conflict, asking to calm down and stating that this is not what he is here for. Chapter 1-28. The guy notes that he did not come to attend their secret meeting. Yi Chengxi's mother doesn't like these words. After all, the guy messed up her entire plan. She wanted to use this opportunity to introduce him to the family to sort out her daughter's engagement, and now it's almost impossible. A triumphant chuckle comes from the stranger's lips. Chu King pulls out a yellow pebble from his pocket, stating that he came to talk about cooperation. The hero immediately throws a pebble to a stranger, offering to take a look. She examines it, noticing that it does not look like an ordinary stone. The head of the Yi family is in a hurry to find out what it is. After that, the sister passes the object to Yi Chengxi's mother. The guy says that he calls them spiritual stones. After that, he asks the woman to perform a breathing technique and feel the power flowing through her body. The trio rises from their seats. The head of the Yi family steps forward to perform this breathing technique. She decides to trust the guy. The woman feels an extraordinary surge of strength. Everyone present feels these changes in their relative. They sweat nervously, realizing that the stone turned out to be a very difficult artifact. Yi Chengxi's mother also asks how many more stones there are in Chongqing. He wants to buy them all if the price is reasonable. The brunette also notices that spirit stones are not sold directly. The unknown woman immediately takes a fighting stance, not understanding whether the guest decided to joke with them or not. Chongqing asks me to let him finish. He explains that these stones will appear at auction in a couple of days, and based on their average price, he will be able to sell them to his aunt at a discount. The hero is in a hurry to tell us that this is not the main goal of his visit today. It turns out that he came to sell them protective amulets and elixirs that can strengthen a person for a short time. Yi Chengxi's mother has a satisfied smile on her face. The second aunt snaps at the words about a short time, and the third woman rushes to find out how much they can strengthen. Chongqing says 30%, while the stranger is in a state of shock. The head of the Yi family is in a hurry to clarify how long their production lasts and what about the price. Chongqing explains that the amulets are produced quickly, in about a couple of days, and since he is doing this to help their family, he suggests that Auntie set the price herself. The guy then says that it will take about a week to produce the elixirs, and after he hands them the first batch, they can already set the price. The unknown aunt does not understand why the unknown young man helps them so much. The hero puts his hand on Yi Chengxi's shoulder, stating that the reason for his help is their friendship. From such a gesture, the girl turns red with embarrassment. After that, Chongqing leaves the Yi family's home. The girl sees him off. She admits that at first she only wanted to use him, but now they have become good friends and he has even helped her and her family. Chongqing realizes that he is even beginning to enjoy living in this world. He understands that after the auction, with the support of 7 Yi, he will start his business in Jinmen. The hero returns home late at night. The hero is surprised to notice that his parents are waiting for him in the hall, along with some strange woman who smokes right in the house. She introduces herself. It turns out that this is the second aunt of the hero. Her name is Chongqing. The guy greets her gloomily, mentally cursing about what is happening. He doesn't know what the hell is going on here, because he's never heard of having such a relative. The second aunt notes that the guy has a cute face, and then declares that she came to marry him. Chongqing can't believe what he's hearing. He's only 17 years old, so it's not clear what kind of wedding we're talking about. Chapter 1-29. Chongqing notices that he hasn't even graduated from high school yet, so he suggests that we return to discussing this issue only when he graduates from university. Second aunt didn't. He understands why sending him to university, because he is only a man, so it would be a waste of money. The dark-haired man mentally curses, because it pisses him off that in this world women are more important than men. Chongqing shifts the subject, determined to find out where Chu Zio is and if she's still in graduate school. The hero's mother honestly says that her daughter spends all day lazing around at home. The guy assumes that she is still sleeping in her room. Second aunt takes a drag on her cigarette, noting that this is a real shame. She thinks it's all the fault of her upbringing. The woman claims that their mother raised them differently, so the sister's children behave like this. The hero's father decides to move away, saying that he will go make tea. Seeing his father's exhausted face, Chongqing becomes angry. Mentally, he notes that she talks too much. He would have hit her like that if he'd had his way. Chongqing continues his unpleasant monologue. She stresses that she doesn't understand what her sister sees in this man, because it would be great if she listened to them and married the heir of the Liu family from Heishi. At this point, the sound of the impact makes the women jump in place. They turn their attention to Chongqing, who has slammed his fist down on the table. He apologizes, claiming that he just saw a fly on the table. Chongqing gets up from her seat, claiming that it's time for her to go, but this time her sister will have to explain herself or she knows what will happen. The second aunt puts on a coat. I advise the hero to enjoy the last year of school, because after graduation he is unlikely to have too much time before the wedding. Chongqing also decides to clarify why he should listen to a woman. The same one decides to explain that the well-being of his family depends on this, which, as soon as the main family brings you together with some rich woman, will greatly improve. The brunette notices that he will not do this, because with money he is doing well. This greatly angers the second aunt, but the guy decides to continue talking. He points out that if money is really so important, then why not sell someone else's leg? Chongqing, hearing such nonsense, said that her sister should check her son with a doctor since he thinks about such things. The mother does not understand what has come over her son, so, calling him by name, calls him to stop. He gives his mother a sidelong glance from behind him, then goes to his room. The hero recruits Yi Chengxi, deciding to address his problem to her. At night, Chu King goes to a bar. She gets drunk, and under her hands she has two young guys who pour her alcohol. At this time, she is being watched by another member of the fair sex, who is communicating on the phone with Sister Yi. She clarifies whether they should limit themselves to one leg. Yi Chengxi asks to let her think for a while, then claims that they can grab another kidney. Chapter 1-30. Morning comes. Chu King is sitting in a meditation position, concentrating on a few pebbles in front of him. They hover over the bed under the influence of his power. The hero understands that the city has become quite restless, and his mother's family has started to create problems for them, since he still has time to create protective artifacts for his family and friends. The guy picks up a stationary knife with his power. After a moment, the knife flies into a round object, in which something happens to it. A huge purple magic circle appears above the hero, from which yellow energy begins to come out. After some time, it dissipates. In his mind, Chu King notes that the jade pendants made from Jia Yu's materials are not bad, because they contain a lot of protective swords and alert him when the owner is in danger. After a while, the hero sits down to eat with his parents. The father declares that the son must study hard to pass the exams well. The guy doesn't know what to say to this, because it's a pity to look at a man. He has black eyes and looks very tired. Chu King decides to cheer him up, stating that he knows everything very well and should not worry, because he will work harder than ever. My father laughs nervously, noting that as long as he is happy, they will be happy. The hero announces that he has a gift for them. He pulls 3 different shaped amulets out of his pocket, emphasizing that they are for mom, dad, and sister. Parents take gifts in their hands, feeling a strange flow of energy. The father immediately decides to clarify where he got them, because they are so pleasant to the touch. The brunette reports that he found them in one of the temples. Chu King goes to school. The next lesson begins. He sits at his desk, feeling lousy, because he's been working on artifacts all night and is very tired. The reason for this is his stupid mortal body. The girl at the back of the desk tries to wake up the hero, noticing the fact that it will be bad if the teacher sees him. At this time, the teacher approaches the poor schoolgirl, who is clearly dissatisfied with the conversations in the classroom. A hand falls on the guy's desk, causing him to interrupt his sleep. The teacher finally noticed that he was asleep. She mockingly asked if he had had a good night's sleep, then invited him to the blackboard so that he could demonstrate his knowledge to the entire class. A sleepy Chu King walked out to the blackboard. He picked up the chalk in his hand and began to examine the problem. The guy noticed to himself that he was sleeping the whole lesson and did not listen, so he does not know how to solve it. After reading the condition carefully again, he recalled how Song Kaoran had already explained to him how to solve such problems. It's the girl who tried to wake him up before the teacher came. The brunette quickly sketched out a solution, then put the chalk back in its place. It tells the teacher that it is finished with the task. The woman does not understand how this happened. There's a commotion in the classroom. The teacher does not understand how the guy could solve everything so quickly and even without mistakes, because he slept through the entire lesson. She pulls herself together, stating that even if Chu King is good at math, he can't sleep in class. The guy notices to himself that all his life he studied poorly, so it's not clear at all when he managed to become a smartass. Realizing that in terms of knowledge, she will not be able to punish the guy, the teacher decides to go the other way. She points out that Chu King does not hold any position in the class, and she has a free position as a class representative. The guy tries to somehow dodge the extra trouble, but the interlocutor lets out her ominous aura, clarifying whether he has any objections. The hero only nervously replies that everything is in order and there are no objections. Chapter 1-31. The hero again buries his head in the desk. He manipulates one of the amulets. He understands that it is faster to finish the amulet's promise to the family, because they can save the wearer from a deadly attack. According to his preliminary estimates, each of them will cost about 30,000 yuan, but the guy is not sure how much he can make in such a short time. Suddenly, a friend's hand falls on Chu King's shoulder and he offers to go eat. The hero loses concentration for a moment, but he still manages to suppress the explosion. Black smoke begins to billow from his hand. A friend points out that you can't play with fire in class. The guy turns his back on his friend, watching what happened. He knows it's not bad, but he's not up to the others. Chu King hands a sword-shaped amulet to his friend, stating that this thing can save his life from danger, so he should keep it a secret. The interlocutor accepts the gift, saying that he also has something for a friend. He starts looking for him behind his back, then hands him a bottle of Coke. Chu King is angry, grabbing each other's ears, because the Coke bottle isn't even intact, so it's not a gift at all. A friend notices that he has come to him on business. Then the hero lets him go, specifying what business he is talking about. The interlocutor says that in a couple of days there will be a sports festival at the school. And since, after defeating Tan Xiang, the hero became a school star, he should take part. Shu King doesn't have time for this, so he refuses. But his friend notices that the video of their match has already spread around the school, so even if he doesn't go himself, the teachers will force him to play. In addition, the friend stresses that Chu King needs to keep good memories of the school festival because they are already in their senior year.